Okay, so for example number 1, we're given 2 points, -3, 7 and -2, 4, and we're asked to write a linear equation. If you guys remember, a linear equation is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope or the rise over the run of the behavior of the graph, and b is the y-intercept where it crosses the x-axis. Okay, so now when we're given the slope, well, we're kind of given it. We have to find it. The slope, the rise is really the difference in y over the difference in x. Okay, so let's make a small graph here. I don't know. Let's make it. That's pretty good. All right, let's do that. And let me make this a little smaller for us. And let me come back up here. Oops, that's not what I want. Let's move that.
Drag it over to select it. Oh,
No, it's gonna drag everything.
Just select it over the box.
Shh, I got it. All right. Oh, shoot. All right, so to graph this thing, let's make 2 points on the line. It's going to go to 7 and to 4. So I'm going to make my x-axis. I'm going to make it down here at the bottom, and then my y-axis is mostly my x-axis is mostly negative numbers. So I'm going to draw it. I didn't do enough boxes, so we'll just draw it like that. So this is my x and y-axis. Let's just graph these, okay? So this is like x sub 1, y sub 1, and this is x sub 2, y sub 2. So I'm going to go -3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right? So that is my point, -3, 7. And then my next point is going to go over to the left, 1, 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's my second point, okay? -2, 4. All right? Now, they want me to graph, well, actually, they want me to write the equation of the line that goes through those 2 points. So let's get this lined up pretty good. Ooh. All right, so those are my 2 points. So what I'm asked to do is I got to write some function of x that represents this line right here. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so how do I do that? Well, if it has to be written in terms of like y equals mx plus b, it almost looks like it crosses the x-axis at about 0. I don't know if it does or doesn't. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Mathematically, we got to do it. Mr. Adams wasn't real precise. I'm in a hurry. I'm trying to teach you guys. I'm trying to sketch it. So whenever we graph something, we should always verify algebraically, okay? But if I got a y-intercept of +10, somewhere I messed up. Does that make sense? Okay. So we would expect it to be close to 0. But the slope is something I can calculate. So the slope is the rise over run. If this is x sub 1, and this is y sub 1, and this is x sub 2, and this is y sub 2, then my rise, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3. Now, another way that I can calculate that, the change in y, if you remember, that's y sub 2 minus y sub 1. And then likewise, I could do the same thing with going over in the x direction, or delta x. Delta x would just be the same as x sub 2 over, or minus x sub 1. So now let's do that mathematically and see what I get. So first of all, I'm going to go down 3. So this is negative 3. That's my rise, negative 3. And then my run looks like 1. So I should get negative 3 over 1 when I'm done. So if I crank through the math, y sub 2 is 4 minus y sub 1, which is 7. Okay. Then I'm going to say x sub 2, which is negative 2, minus x sub 1, which is minus 3. Well, now remember that when we minus a minus, it's the same as adding. And so 4 minus 7 is, in fact, negative 3. And then negative 2 plus 3 is just 1. So I got negative 3 over 1. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yep.
So my slope then is equal to my rise over run, which is equal to the change in y over the change in x, which is equal to negative 3 over 1, or we could just call it negative 3. Cool. So I need to solve for m, and then I also need to solve for the y-intercept, or b. You guys with me so far?
Yeah.
Well, one way that I can make an equation is I could use what we call the point intercept form. Now, Mr. Adams has adapted it a little bit. The way Mr. Adams writes it is like this. Y is equal to m times x minus x sub 1 plus y sub 1. Okay? So really, if I have a point, right, if I have one point, which is x sub 1, y sub 1, and then I have, or it's not point intercept form, it's point slope form.
Yep.
Point slope form. Sorry, I was thinking of two different things. So it's the point slope form. So if I have a point and I can calculate the slope, right, then I can write the equation of the line. Well, I said that y is equal to the slope, which we know now is negative 3, times the quantity x minus x sub 1. But x sub 1 was actually negative 3, right? Plus y sub 1, which we know is 7. Is that right? Okay, cool. So when I minus a minus, it becomes a plus. And so I get y is equal to, distribute the 3 through the parentheses, I get negative 3 times x, negative 3 times 3 is negative 9, and then tack on the plus 7. This becomes negative 3x minus 2. Okay. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Let me check in the book. Yeah, I think that's right. Now, one way we could do that, and I like showing you guys this, is if I pull up my calculator, another way we could do this is we could use the stats. The stats and the list to calculate the equation of a line. So everybody grab your calculators and turn them on. Now I'll give you a second to get them turned on and get to the same screen. And let me move this over. Oops, what did I do with my marker? Yeah, let's slide this over a little bit. Okay, cool. So now what you could do is you could hit Stat and go to Edit. Now Mr. Adams has got a bunch of numbers in there in the list, and I want to get rid of those. So I'm going to use my cursor to go over to L1. Then I'm going to hit Clear. Notice that it says L1 equals, and then I've cleared out that space, so I'm going to hit Enter, and that's how I do that. Use my cursor again to go to L2. Then I'm going to hit clear. Then I'm going to hit enter again. So now I'm just going to simply plug in my x's. So my first x was -3. -2 is my second x. Right? X sub 1 and x sub 2. Use my cursor, go over to the other side. Y sub 1 was 7. Y sub 2 was 4. Okay. Now, what's my greatest x value? -2. What's my greatest y value?
7.
What's my lowest x value?
-3.
What's my lowest y value? 4. So we're going to set the window up. Now we did an equation of the line and we said that across the y-intercept is -2. All right? Give me 1 second. I'll come check out in a second. So what I want to do is when I set my window up, I'm going to go from negative, let's do like -5 to 1. And then for your y minimum, let's go like -4 to like y max, let's go to 10. All right? Then I'm going to clear all this stuff out. So I went to y equals, and I'm just going to hit clear, clear. And then I have to hit second, y equals, and turn my plot 1 on. So I'm going to hit enter, enter, boom. Now I hit graph, and I get those 2 points. Okay? So raise your hand if you need help with that. Oh, yeah, you hit delete instead of clear.
Well, yeah, because the question I'm going to go to L1 and then
Just use L1 and L3 to be fine for now, and I'll fix it later. All right, so now I want to see if that equation on the line goes through there. Okay? So how do I do that? Well, I can hit y equals, and I mathematically calculated that -3x plus 2, or no, it was -2, right? -2? All right, boom, let's see if that goes through there. Goes right through there. It looks like it does. How can I verify and double check? Hit the trace button. Make sure that we are on y equals. See how this up here says plot? If I hit the up cursor, notice how it changes it to y sub 1, -3x minus 2. So now that I'm in trace mode, if I hit -3 and hit enter, my y value is 7, right? So that's the point here. And then let's try that again when x equals -2. Should be 4, right? Is it? Yep. So we're right. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, cool.